The Playback Assistant Pro is a Max for Live device that significantly simplifies live performance using Ableton Live. It has a very straightforward interface with big bright buttons that allows it to be easily visible during a live performance. The way it works, it uses markers in Ableton to dictate the beginning of songs and the sections within songs. Any marker that contains a colon in the name is considered a new song. For example, if I create a new marker, as long as I put the colon in the name, it's going to be detected as a new song. And now, don't be alarmed if it doesn't update right away. It needs another event to update the UI. So I can do it by simply creating a new marker. Now that I have a new marker, it's able to detect the new song. The interface is very straightforward. You have a loop button that we'll cover later. You have the next button, which will display the next section. And you have a add marker button, which is just a means of convenience if you want to add a marker as the song is playing. This is how it works. You would go through your song and mark each section. So let me do that real quick. Now that we've marked all the sections, you'll notice when we move the cursor, it updates the UI to tell us where we are. For example, it automatically detects the beginning of the song as start. Now, if you decide to name that section as well, for example, if I want to rename this to, say, intro, and when I move it, it says loop intro. So the loop button, when off, it tells you what section can be looped. And when it's on, it sets the loop brace around that section, which means that section is going to loop till you're ready to move on. When you turn it off, it just plays as regular. As a quick example, I'm going to set the playhead at the end of that section, and then I'm going to turn the loop on so you could see how it's able to turn on looping on and off in real time. Just like that, it goes back to the beginning. Now, let's say the looping was on and I decide to turn it off. Then it goes on, and you'll notice as soon as it crosses that marker, the UI updates to reflect where we are, tells you you can loop the full chorus now. The next section is the melody, where the melody comes in. It doesn't really matter where you are within that section as long as you loop it or unloop it before it crosses over. So I can be at the beginning of the section and I decide I'm gonna loop it, I can turn it on. See, now it already knows that I'm looping that section. But let's say you're looping a section and they're ready to move on to the next part. That's why we have this next button, because it allows you to go to the next marker and it syncs to your quantize settings in Ableton. So the same way Ableton would count out the rest of the measure before it moves on, it does the same thing. For example, if I'm in this section and I'm looping, and then say somebody signals the next section, as you may have already noticed, if you don't turn the loop off, it will still say that it's looping that section, even though you go to the next part. But that's just because the UI doesn't update because you still have the loop brace on. So the same way with Ableton, once the loop brace is on within a certain section, it reflects that in the UI as if you're still looping that section even though the playhead is outside of it. It functions the same way. Lastly, any marker name with an exclamation mark will be an automatic stop point in your session, which means you don't have to worry about pressing spacebar to stop the track. And it doesn't have to be named end. Once it has an exclamation mark in it, it will automatically stop unless the looping is on, of course. So we want to turn looping off, and then let's try it. And just like that, it stops until we're ready to move to the next section. And the cool thing is this song list is not just a display. It also acts as feedback to let us know what the current song is in the session. For example, if I move my marker, you'll see that it updates to the second song. So anywhere I am in my session, I know which song I'm on, but I can also select the song as well and jump to the markers. So if I want to go to my second song, playhead is here. Of course, we didn't put any audio clips there, so there's nothing playing. But if I want to go back to my first song, there's also a Playback Assistant basic version, and it essentially functions the exact same way, except it doesn't have the panel with the list of songs, and it doesn't have the feature of automatic stop at the end of the song. But besides that, everything else functions the exact same way.